Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of you wherever you are. May you be well, may you be protected from all unwholesome, unfortunate, all that leads to suffering. May you be well. This is Ayya Phalanyani speaking from Germany, Ninja Vihara. And as usual, I would think that we take a moment to breathe. Sit yourself upright. Bring yourself in a position, no matter whether you sit on a chair or you sit on the floor, even if you are sitting on an armchair like I do. Bring your column vertebra into an upright position. There are two main reasons for pain in the back. One is that you are tensed. The other is that your back is not straight, that it's not upright, that you might pull your head to the front. Then after no long time, your lower back will hurt, or you hang somewhere in somewhat. Then your organs are squeezed and squashed, and so sit upright and relaxed. And just breathe in and out. When you breathe in, just check. Is there any hindrance within me today or now, at this moment? Is there, for example, the hindrance of wanting or lust? Is there the hindrance of aversion? Just check. This is checking your mind states. Don't forget to sit upright, and don't forget to breathe in and out slowly. And soft. And when you check for the hindrances, there are none. There is at that time no wanting of anything, and even if it's just for a moment. And then when there is no aversion for the time being, that is a good preparation for the day and for the meditation practice. That is a good preparation also to be mindful about your sila. You just keep breathing softly in and out, and prepare yourselves to listen to the Dhamma. I greet all of you. Again, many, many blessings to wherever you are, and to whoever tunes in later or listens to this later. So, sila is the topic of today, or ethics. And the question, why and how strict should we keep them? I have a list of questions. I have received some email and I wrote them out. It's a topic that is important for even the young ones. I was really, really surprised and happy when I received those emails, because it's from young people discussing the sila and wanting to practice the Buddhist ethics in their lives. So there was a young man, and he writes, "These days I think a lot about sila, and I want to keep the 8 precepts on Uposatha days. Normal days, 5 precepts. I know the precepts and I have practiced them before in a monastery, but to do it at home is a different story. How can I keep the sila at home? Please advise." Then it continues. Can I kiss my girlfriend? Can I use my bed, which is 55 centimeters high? And in addition, the mattress of 23 centimeters. Can I listen to music or make music, as it can be part of my job as a kindergartner? How about the meals when the Uposatha falls on a work day? So this is to start with. It is good, of course, to keep the sila. The 5, the 8, the 10, the 227 and the 311 respective to each and everyone who has undertaken to train in those silas, to undertake those precepts. Usually you people living at home live with 5 sila. That is the basic. That is what kind of defines you or us or everybody who is practicing them as a Buddhist. This is, I don't want to say the bare minimum to keep the five if you want to be a Buddhist, but it's kind of the bare minimum. Um, and it's wonderful, enormous training. It's good to train with the five precepts on a daily basis. This will keep your mind with wholesomeness. If only the five precepts are left in this world, there's still enough Dhamma to practice in this world. And you, by keeping those five precepts, are practicing the Dhamma. I, as a bhikkhuni, have undertaken to train in 311 rules. So, yes, I try to do that. I do my best. And that will most hopefully lead to well-being and to the staying of the Dhamma in this world a little bit longer. So now the 8 precepts, there also was the question, what led the Buddha to giving the 8 precepts, and what are the benefits of keeping them? And how much is useful? How much of those rules is useful to keep? So if we have the 5, then you would undertake the training not to kill any living being, not to take what is not given. You would undertake to excuse me, to behave well on sexual matters, and you would guard your speech and not lie, not do anything like harsh speech, like blaming, slander, talking behind somebody's back, and things like that. That is, in the 5 precepts, this is altogether put in one rule. But in the suttas, you often read about the 8 precepts, and there the rule about the speech is just split up. So in the 5 precepts as we have them now, the 5th would be that you do not use any drugs or alcohol or things that can make your mind, how you say that, dull, stupid, that affects your mind in a way that it's intoxicating. So as I just said, the 8 precepts, in some suttas, there are just the rule of the speech is just split up, so that you, for example, do not lie, do not use harsh speech, do not slander, do not gossip. And so this also can add up to 8. But the 8 precepts, as we know them now, and as they were used as a, let's say, rudimental or basic form of ordination in the beginning, there were things like not not to adorn yourself, not to go to singing, dancing, not to use entertainment, and then this with the high beds and high chairs, or let's say luxuries. So there is a little bit a mix-up. It was not always like it is today with the 8 precepts. But even in the time of the Buddha, there were people dressed in white who were living on 8 precepts, and who were sometimes living at home and dressed in white, and sometimes living at monasteries. And also sometimes the people kept the 5 precepts and went to take the 8 precepts on Uposatha days. So this is a very old tradition that you keep the 8 precepts on Uposatha days. And the reason for this is that you live like a monk, that you give up things that even with the 5 precepts you can still do. You can still usually adorn yourself. You can sing and dance, and you can listen to music, and you can use some luxurious articles and perfumes and things like that. And when you go to a monastery to keep the 8 precepts, you would also give this up. And if you decide to keep the 8 precepts at home on Uposatha days, which I think is a wonderful idea, then you give those things up at home, just not using those things. And now, yeah, how to keep them at home? Then, when you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend who is not a Buddhist, or who doesn't want to keep the 8 precepts on Uposatha days. So in this case of this young man, he has a girlfriend. And so when you are on 5 precepts, of course, you can kiss your girlfriend. When you are on the 8 precepts on Uposatha days, I would say you should train yourself not to. Maybe give her a kiss, give her hugs before you start. Then take the 8 precepts, and then don't. And if you talk to her and explain that it is a training for you and that you want to train your ethics, then she might understand, because she is the one who will benefit from her. She knowing that you can stick to ethics will make her, in the end, on the long run, very much more relaxed, because she can trust you. She can trust you maybe with women around and don't need to become jealous, because she knows you can really keep ethics and you won't do anything that is unethical, like cheating on her. So I think if you explain it to her in a right way, then it could be a good practice. And then it's not that often. And I think it's doable. You wake up, you hug her and kiss her, and then for the rest of the day, you don't until the evening. And then you can do again. You give up the 8 precepts and you can hug and kiss her again. But when you are on the 8 precepts, no, I wouldn't do. You know, maybe I'm just a little bit on the softer side of keeping the rules, and not too too strict, and always try to find how you can practice these things relaxed and comfortable. But there are limits to the comfort they are giving. And at a certain time, you just have to practice them and to just go with it and do it. So if you undertake the training rule on Uposatha days to keep the 3rd precept, which is to live a chaste life like the monks. When you are on the 5 precepts, is only no sexual misconduct. But when you are on 8 precepts, you undertake the training not to have any sexual activity whatsoever, and kissing, hugging, and so forth is part of it. I mean, if the girlfriend or anybody has a mental breakdown and cries and needs a hug, then yes, hug. But for the sense pleasures, for the hugging, don't. And I think it's important to know the difference between when do I do harm to people near me when I keep the precepts, and when do I really keep them. And if you read the suttas careful, then you always find that the Buddha was a little bit more on the strict side. Also, he was the most compassionate being that ever lived on earth, and he was most understanding. And if people could not keep the rule for any reason, or if they didn't understand, or so, there were no implications and he wouldn't say something or scold or so. But if you do it out of greed, hatred, or delusion, that's a whole different story. Then, not to keep a rule or a sila because you just want to follow greed, hatred, and delusion, that doesn't make any sense. Then you can give up the training. I mean, you train the rules because you want to give up greed, hatred, and delusion. So use the training given by the Buddha. And you can trust that the Buddha gave all those rules because it is better for us. It is good for us to practice those rules. I have a total trust in that. Even if I don't maybe like some of the rules or think, this is difficult to keep, or I would just want to do some gardening, which I don't. But if it were, then that would be a thing I need to think of. I need to think, why do I want to break my rules? What is the reason for it? And the answer is always because greed, hatred, and delusion. Because if I don't have these, there is no need to break any rule. There would almost certainly be always a pure sila. So it is not important that we from the beginning on understand what we do. The understanding of what we are doing by training the 8 precepts on Uposatha days will come by the time. The question was, what are the benefits? The benefits of practicing with the sila, with the 5 or the 8, is that your mind calms down because you become a righteous, good person. You don't do anything that harms other people. You don't do anything that could give rise to unwholesome thoughts or actions. So this training of the precepts is a training of goodness, a training of skill, if you want, as a training of the purification of mind. And it's very easy to think that when you lie, for example, you always need to remember, what did I tell here? What did I say there? What was it about? And what have I done? What have I said? If you yell at people, then you most probably understand that there are anger issues. If you just gossip, you will understand that there might be a lot of ignorance and ill will. So, of course, these precepts help you to become a better person. And becoming a better person, a person that is good-hearted, and harmless in this world has all the chances of experiencing meditative states, of experiencing stillness, of experiencing joy. The benefits also are that you are valued and trusted by other people. Your word is trusted because everybody knows I can rely on that person. If he or she says something, I can trust they do what they say. So the love and trust of other people is certainly a benefit that comes along with training of the sila. The stillness and purification of your mind is another benefit. You will sleep better and you will practice better. That is for sure. So when you have high-end and luxurious beds, the question with the beds and chairs is not so much whether they are high. The question is more whether they are luxurious and have a lot of pillows and blankets and comfort. The kings in olden days had, well, nowadays also have high beds and chairs with long legs, but also with a lot of adornment and with a lot of softness and cushions and so on. And this would not be allowed. But there are questions coming in, so I was just piking at the side. So when you have your precept, or when you have a high bed, I think it's not that you have to take your mattress down and sleep on the floor. Just use your bed, use it consciously, and don't take more comfort than you need to have a good night's rest. You don't need to throw out your bed that you have, but throw out all the luxurious items that you might have within your bed. Throw out everything that is a surplus, but the centimeters or inches of the height of the legs of your bed, I wouldn't worry too much about these. So then I noticed that there are already comments. Would buying some lottery considered violating the 5 precepts? I don't think so. I don't think so. Especially if it's a lottery that is for some welfare organization. Well, I don't know if in where you are these things exist, but we here in Europe, we have lotteries that benefit children, for example, or um, orphans. So especially if you buy such a lottery ticket, I don't think it would be really a breaking, a violating of the five precepts. Especially not if you do it with the wish to benefit other people and by chance maybe winning something. And with the eight precepts on Uposatha days, it might be because it's gambling and that you shouldn't do. Especially if it's just like a, a lottery that is not for any purpose, but just for the game and just for the win. Then when you're on eight precepts, I wouldn't do, but on the five precepts, I think no problem. And then respected Bhikkhuni, if I'm not wrong, Buddha's teaching of five precepts is not to go lower than human realm. Well, yes, in a way, the practice of the five precepts could lead to that. But it is not said that when you keep the five precepts, that you are definitely and undoubtedly go to any higher realms or be reborn as a human again. And this is not the only condition, to be born in the human realm. So there can be things that can go wrong, even if you practice the five precepts. You still can, because of other karma, go lower than human realm. Because of karma that you have done before and that you don't remember in whatever lifetimes. So there are other causes and conditions that would make it a little bit more certain that you would be reborn in a human realm, or that you are born in the human realm only once or so, or only 7 times. And of course, yes, when you practice the five precept, minimum the five precept, that can lead to be born in the human realm or not be reborn lower than that. And I think it's really, really worthwhile to practice them. For this or before mentioned reasons. So now to the question, how about meals and music and things like that when the Uposatha falls on a work day? This is the case of a kindergartner, and he has on work days sometimes to sing and dance with the children. And play games with the children. That's just his job. So how would he do with the 8 precepts then on when this week, for example, it's on a Friday? He can't just go and say, well, children, I'm on precepts, and now you just sit together with me and meditate. Most probably that would be great, but might not be possible. So if it's your job to sing and dance with the children, I would just do it. But I would avoid to do it as means of entertainment and enjoyment. Like when it becomes a sensual pleasure, I wouldn't just do it. And when you are on 5 precepts, then of course, there's no problem at all. You can sing and dance all you want, and you can even do dancing meditation or whatever else nowadays is available. It's not against the rules. It might not be the most beneficial meditation practice when you use singing and dancing, but it wouldn't be against the rules, the 5, but against the 8 on Uposatha days, yes. Now also with the eating, when you practice the 8 precepts, I would consider at least to practice it. And I would consider well, if that means you can only have breakfast and no lunch. So I would say with a breakfast and an early lunch, it should be doable. When you are out in this world, you need to eat. I know this here from the people who come here on days when we work hard or work a lot. You just need more food, or you need something sweet in the afternoon or something to just keep up and have some energy. So it is important that you keep with your energy. But I was hesitating in the beginning of saying that maybe you can keep it a little bit not so strict when you're working. But then on the other hand, on this weekend, I was traveling by train from Munich to Vienna. And this is some hours by train. And next to me, all around me was a group of people working for the train, but they were on their break. They were kind of night shift working people, and most of them had a huge lunch and were feasting on it. And one guy, I don't know what nationality he was, some Muslim country, but not too sure which country, but never mind. He was fasting. I don't know if it's still Ramadan, but he didn't eat. And we both were sitting next to each other. The both with the rules, he as a Muslim, and me as the Buddhist. We were, yeah, kind of watching the others eat. And, and I thought, this is great. I mean, this is really respectable, and it's kind of building character. You know, I'm a fan of Calvin and Hobbes comics, and when I have the chance, I still love them. So you most probably you don't know them anymore because they are old, like from the 90s, 80s, 90s. But there's Calvin's father who always says, "Oh, this builds character. You go out. That builds character." And some things are just like that. If you learn to keep up with this, that builds character. And what that means, it builds up a strength that for your meditation practice and for your sticking with wholesomeness and being harmless in this world might help tremendously, because you have learned to stick with the things, with the wholesome things. So, yes, if it were in any way possible, I would do that. I would not eat, say, have an early lunch and say until 1 o'clock. After 1 o'clock, I don't eat anything anymore. If it's not noon whatsoever, but set a time and say, beyond this time, I won't eat. And the practice that I noticed in Asian countries, when the people go to their monasteries and practice the 8 precepts, they come in the morning, take the precepts, and then at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, they take the 5 precepts and go home. And what do? They eat first thing. And that's no good. I mean, you should do it a little bit longer and then just eat fast until the next morning. And this, I tell you, has health benefits. Nowadays, how's that word again? There's a lot of talk about the interval fasting or intermittent fasting. In German, it's called interval fasting. So that is taken from the Buddha's teaching. I know the guy who invented that. He was a comedian once, as I was, and we were working on a cruise ship together one day. We never totally out of touch now, but what I found very funny is that he checked the Buddhist teaching and invented the interval fasting, where I am practicing this since many years, and it is indeed healthy. I can assure you this. It might sometimes happen that you get a little bit hungry in the afternoon, but there are things um, that you can use. If you take just a spoon of honey, or if you take a broth or something like that, that helps you and to get over the time. So, have we? Uh, we didn't speak about the. Yeah, we did speak about the music. Do you have any more questions? Then there was the question here: how many rules are in fact beneficial? Is it the more the better? Or should we select those that are good for us? Should we have a teacher to give us some more rules because they know us and they know what we need to practice? In Thailand, for sure, they would tell you, yeah, the more, the better. And they look up to the bhikkhunis in a way because they have more rules than the than the bhikkhus do have. So, but no, I don't think so. It's not the more the better. It's not that I'm as a bhikkhuni with 311 rules are better or a better practitioner than somebody with 211, with 10, or with 8, or even with 5. That depends on other things, not only on the rules. Of course, if I keep my 311 rules, that is a very good training. But somebody with 5 precepts can also get very, very far in their practice. Here are comments now. As a registered nurse, I'm working night shift from 7 p.m. until 7:30 a.m. How do I manage my mealtime? Well, in that case, you certainly have to adjust. I mean, I would work. No, I would eat after work, maybe one meal, and then give it a little bit time, and then most probably you are going to bed quite early in the morning and sleep during the day. That's what I guess. I don't know. But if you do that, you should maybe, like other people, have a dinner. You should have something in the morning after work, then have a little time before you go and rest. And then have another meal at some point when it's convenient for you. I, in that case, would not stick to it needs to be before noon, because you might need to sleep at that time. And you might need something you might need to eat something during your night shift also. Although at night, even if you work night shifts, the digestive system is a little bit lower in activity than during the day. But, well, for the 5 precepts, there is no whatsoever restriction. But if you want to keep the 8 precepts on an Uposatha day, having that kind of schedule that you work night shifts, then just do the same kind of intermittent fasting. And just don't stiff yourself. No, not stiff. Don't uh, stuff yourself with food because of greed. That's what I can think of now. My state has a public announcement that an insect has invaded our area that can harm the agriculture here. I found several nests on the wall of the building I work at. Ow, that is really, yeah. And then for those invaders, intruders, insects, or species, there are sometimes they can really invade an environment and harm it. So both is not good. Keeping it to yourself because it harms agriculture is bad. Going yourself and kill them is also bad. Maybe I think there are people who do this for work, that they are kind of say killing pests. And I would think that the best idea is to leave it up to those people because they made it their profession. And you don't need to talk to them about the 5 precepts and about non-killing, but you should neither tell them, go kill them, go kill them. That would be as bad. But if somebody comes and kills them, what you could do is to send blessings and well wishes to the insects that have been killed. Here the question continues. I was conflicted on what to do. I understand that perfectly. Since I try to practice not harming, I kill them, feeling there is a greater good. Did I create very bad karma for myself? Very bad karma, no. Bad karma, yes. There is a thing. mm, let's say the more the being um, is capable of becoming an arahant, the, the worse it is to kill that being. So if you kill a human being, that's bad. That's really bad. If you kill an arahant, that would be, you go straight to hell. If you kill a stream enterer, that would be not as bad as killing an arahant. You wouldn't go straight to hell, but it still would be really, really heavy, heavy karma. Now, beings that are far away from becoming enlightened, or the further away those beings are, the less heavy the karma you make will be. Um, but nonetheless, it will be bad karma. That is for sure. Any killing, even if you kill a dog, say, for out of compassion because it's getting old, there would be some bad karma in it because of the act of killing. Mm, I don't want to scare you too much, but this is done. So at some point, you will experience the result, whether that be in this life or in another life. We don't know. Mm, try not to do that ever again, since you are aware of it now. And don't be scared. Don't mm, don't blame yourself. Blaming oneself is unwholesome. So look at what you've done and say, from now on, I will not do that anymore. I hope that helps to some extent. And if you don't have any further very important questions, I would say we leave it at that. Be well, be protected from all evil, unwholesomeness. Be at peace yourself and be surrounded by peace. Bye bye. Be well.